Next, Jim Morris.
Good morning. My name is Jim Morris, and I am a discharger. Does this feel like a support group? Sorry, I had to go there. I'm representing a ranch that's been in our family for 150 years. We've been in continuous operation during that whole time. We started off as a diversified ranch back early on in the 1850s, growing many different kinds of livestock, turkeys and hogs, sheep and cattle, producing forage crops and grains. We've gone through lots of changes down through the years, but we're becoming more diversified again. We now grow hay, small grains, sheep and cattle, kids, coho salmon, stuff like that. My kids are the 6th generation on the ranch, and I'm very proud of that, and I'd really like to see them stay. I'll come back to that in a while. One of the things that's important for a ranch or farming operation is to stay economically viable. That means that almost every year I have to make money. There's a few years when it's a little slim, but we have to make money off the ground that we live on, or we have to leave. That's as opposed to some people who don't need to make money off the land that they live on, and I understand how that works. My wife's grandfather, Frank Bryan, was instrumental in forming the Soil Conservation Service in Scott Valley in the 1940s, which then turned into the RCD after time. Frank realized that at that time our soil was not being managed well in the valley. There was a lot of erosion, a lot of sediment, a lot of what we make our living off of was leaving the valley in the form of sediment. A lot of bank stabilization went on during that time. They put in riprap and planted trees, and down through the years on our ranch we've done that. I invite any of you to come out, give me a call. We'll take a look and we'll see how we've stabilized our banks and how we've grown trees in there. Another thing that we've done is a lot of water conservation measures on our ranch. We've put pivots in. We own a couple pivots. I manage another. And we've gone away from flood irrigating a lot, and that we might find out that that's a mistake over time. We fence the river on our place, and I will tell you that we are not in the CCRP program because I feel it's necessary to graze that river. If I can't get in there and flash graze, we have problems like I think at least 1 or 2 other landowners have addressed. We have weed problems. Another phenomena that happened is that we have a new willow species that's been in the river now for maybe 8 or 10 years, maybe a little longer. We call it a sandbar willow. They're hard to identify. They tend to grow real low in this brush and get real heavy. One of the things that we found is that if we graze that, it will grow a longer stem and become a tree. I had Brian out. We took a look at it. Other people might have noticed that phenomenon, but actually grazing in a system can change the way that plants grow. And that's a form of adaptive management that we've just found. It works really well for us. We've done a lot of planting in the river, which makes excellent beaver food. And I think that's one of the things that needs to be addressed. The more we plant, the more beaver come in, the more they eat it. That's not wrong. It's just the way it's going to be. When we nail down a river and we don't allow it to meander, I know a lot of people like to talk about meandering. When we nail down a river and armor the banks and say some of you might think that's a good or a bad thing, it decreases sediment. A meandering river will pick up sediment and we'll put it down the channel, and that's one of the things that we're listed for is sediment. My ranch needs to remain economically viable. I need to make money on my ranch, and I think that I can see a way to do that. I will adapt and find ways to make a living there. But one of the things that I want to do along with that is to entice my children to come alongside of me and later to work on our ranch. That's a big deal to me. If that can't happen, I really don't know why I'm doing this. We need to allow for me to be able to do adaptive management in ways that make sense to me and can make a living for me and my kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. There's another family that goes way back. I had Katie in Sunday school when she was 3 years old. Next is Alexis Plank. And is Tom Menny here, or Jason Finley, or Brian? They were supposed to be here. Okay.
I think I have to start by saying I understand why my parents are in Santa Fe this week. This is a little scary. You can go and talk about the ranch. Okay. Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexis Plank. I grew up here in the valley on Scott River Ranch, and I'm here this morning to talk a little about some of the things that we have done on our ranch as part of a larger community involvement. We, as well as many of our neighbors, are committed to the land, we're committed to the animals. To not be would create an obstruction in the driving force behind our professions. The health of the river directly correlates to the well-being of our livelihoods here. Specifically on our ranch, we have recently eliminated the potential to develop or break up our ranch by placing all 4,000 acres under a conservation easement. We have had all 6 square miles certified organic, not just farmland, also the rangeland, the junipers, the whatever is brown in the hills behind us. We are, 2 of those miles also are riverfront now. We are currently undergoing certification by Salmon Safe and will be the largest producer that they certify. We've worked aggressively on the health of the land. This includes, we've recently put in, or over the last couple of years, we've been working on putting in a riparian corridor, which serves a multitude of purposes for us. We've planted a number of native species, including shrubs and trees. Some of the things that it works toward doesn't only serve us as ranchers, but wildlife as a whole, and we see that working together very well for us. Namely, it acts as a buffer, at the base of which is a pond creating a sediment filter, allowing irrigation water to be filtered through, sediment to be cleaned out, and it re-enters the river at a much higher quality than it would have entered before. On the business side, we're constantly interested in improving our forage, and we see this riparian zone acting as an incredible buffer, harboring many beneficial insects for our crops. It also creates safe passage and shade for our stock out there, and safer passage for wildlife coming from the uplands to the river. It should be noted that the water temperature decreases approximately 4 degrees from entering our ranch at Young's Dam to exiting it at Horn Lane Bridge. With all due respect, I believe that the listing of the Scott River as impaired is uncalled for and unjust, and it is my fear that it would greatly hinder the present desire for community involvement and action. We run cattle and are one of the larger hay producers in the valley, and we feel that we cannot be dismissed. Our progress on our ranch, however, is only one example of a larger community effort. This is a growing concern for us, and many are taking action. I'm not here today looking for a gold star. I merely ask that our efforts be acknowledged, for they are reaping measurable results. I'm not asking you to trust us. We will make changes in the future. I'm telling you that we are doing it today. On behalf of my family, similar to Mr. Morris, I would like to invite you to observe the workings of our ranch, anyone, any day, see any progress that we've made, any suggestions anyone has, we are open to it. Any efforts that we've put forth on a voluntary basis, feel free to critique, give your opinion. Don't tell my parents I said this. I live at 1138 East Callahan Road, and you're welcome any day. Thank you so much for your time. One more thing. Can I say one more thing? Can I say, sorry. Oh, I thought it was off. I was just being not. Okay. Mr. Morris also kind of inspired something for me, is that I'm 23. I'm much younger than a lot of people here, and this isn't my ranch. It's, or I feel as though it's my ranch, but it's very scary. He's got children, and I'm my parents' child. I would love to come back here one day, and these kind of things it's scary. I have a hard time seeing a lot of potential for younger people to come back, and it's really important that we make that available for younger people to come back, and that there is that incentive. And if we don't work together, there is no incentive for younger people to come back, and our way of life here will die. So thank you so much.
Alexis, I am so proud of you. That's the kind we've got here, guys. That's what grows in this valley. Is there anyone else who would like to speak about a process or progress that you've made on the ranch with or without government help? Okay.
Joyce Landy, and I'm a partner at Hale Dairy in Etna. And Alexis is a hard act to follow. We've made improvements on the dairy. We have took all of the drainage from going into the creeks. When Richard first came, that's what we did. Then we put in 3 new ponds to filter the water from this, and then we put in a separator, which this is all over $100,000 that we have improved on the dairy. And water quality came in '80 and said we had a big problem. So we've been working with them. They could never tell us where the problem was. But we had already made these corrections. And so now we have put in, the filter separates the manure water from the manure. And we use the manure, recycle it for bedding for the cows in the loafing barns. We take the water and sprinkle the fields. And so we recycle that water. So we've made improvements over the years too. Thank you.
Central Valley could probably use some of your work. Is there anyone else? Thank you so much for all of your input. Okay, I don't have the agenda. What's... Yes. Was there a question? The time for open comments is going to be at, it says 10:50, which is about now, but I think we have Sari Sommerstrom. We're a little bit behind. Sari Sommerstrom, and then there will be public comments.
Terry Barber.
Oh, Terry. Whoop. Well, we have Terry Barber after that. Right. She just gets 10 minutes.